My name is Lorenzo Garcia. I'm a member of the Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education. South Valley Academy is a school that's very familiar to me because it was started by a friend of mine in the community where I grew up in Albuquerque, South Valley, which is predominantly at least 90–95% Chicano and Mexicano. And what they've done has been amazing. They've built a sense of community among the students. Many of the traditional high schools, when you have 2,500 students in a high school, it makes it much more difficult when you have several assistant principals who might be responsible for a particular grade, but they're not flexible in the same way that a smaller school would allow. And so part of what we're faced as a school district is how do we begin to reincorporate some of those opportunities for staff to be relaxed and creative and flexible. With NACA, they had a very special challenge. NACA is a school that serves mostly urban Indian children. They're a school that actually values culture and incorporates it into everything that they do. And so we've been thrilled as a school district to have NACA and South Valley Academy. One of the things we're looking at is trying to build community schools. Well, both South Valley Academy and NACA have actually been able to do that pretty quickly in the first couple of years of their existence. So NACA will have a powwow and 800 people will show up. South Valley Academy will have a meeting of parents and a community garden, and you'll have a couple of hundred people come out to help out. That's a different kind of relationship than we're used to in the public schools. And so we're having to re-energize and recreate opportunities for people to be creative. As a school district, we're committed to trying to figure out how we set up these opportunities. My role as a board member is to ask the hard questions and then allow for the struggle as people try to come up with not the answers that I want to hear, but the answers of essentially describing what their experience is like and where they can do better. We're kind of all living in a gotcha society. We want to do silly things. We want to fire all the teachers in a school when kids are having a hard time. That is really not the right answer. We want to pit teachers against each other. I shouldn't say we, but there's a line of thinking that's out there in society that essentially says you have good teachers and bad teachers, and you should be getting rid of more teachers on a regular basis. Well, that's not exactly right. I think you have to support creating the good conditions that allow for good teaching to take place. And I come from an activist or community worker perspective. The big challenge is that often people are still thinking in an old mentality. Part of what they have to try to, I hope I can help them do, is begin to realize that change will happen, but they have to be engaged. But you can't always be in attack mode. It's a tendency that sort of comes from the territory of learning how to fight for yourself. If you fight for yourself from a reactive place. But if you fight for yourself from a proactive place that says we have a community, that makes a different kind of fight. And what do we have in common? And how do we find common ground? And how do we move forward? Those are the things that are really important. In New Mexico, for example, we shouldn't be number 6 in terms of the number of private prisons we have in our state as compared to other states. That's horrible. We shouldn't be satisfied with the teen pregnancy rate that's in the top 3 in the nation. We shouldn't be satisfied with overdoses when it comes to heroin and other kinds of drugs or violence. We should be talking about these things and say, in a sense, looking at them through the lens that's both an economic lens but a social justice lens that says this is going to cost us a lot of money if we have a number of children who are obese now in 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. By the time they're in the 8th grade, what does that do to a young person's self-image and their mental health? I think we do have to pay attention to that, but how we pay attention to that is the critical issue. Can we set up opportunities for neighborhoods who maybe never had a park to actually have a park in their neighborhood? Can we set up bike trails and walking trails? Can we set up schools so that young people can walk to their school? All these things are critical. And that comes through a sort of having harder conversations and investing in our community. And that's not necessarily a trend that's happening these days. Schools are under a tremendous amount of pressure to try to do more with less. And we can't do that anymore. This district has lost over $115 million in the last 5 years, over 1,000 positions. You know, that's horrible. We don't have any more Band-Aids. And now we're having to look at even harder decisions. Well, when those harder decisions come up, it's often easy for my friends on the left or my friends on the right to want to attack us for this or that, you know. And the fact is we have to sit down and have these harder conversations. And that's the difficult thing. That's where justice really matters. Can you have the hard conversations? So that's my 2 cents and my spiel for today.
Because justice matters.
Because justice matters.
Because justice matters.
Because justice matters.
Because justice matters.